Josh, for taking the time to talk with us at the Christian Beat today about your new music and upcoming work that you have planned. So I just wanted to start with congratulations on the recent release of your third single in recent months. And I'm curious, since this wasn't one that you specifically wrote, it being an older hymn, how you wanted to balance kind of your take on it, as well as, still keeping the essence of it still intact, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually, because I think there's like this thing in church, and I think it only exists in church. It doesn't seem like it exists anywhere else, but this contemporary versus traditional kind of music thing that happens. And maybe there's like some people out there that are really like, they really love 1940s music, and they're like, that Lizzo, that modern pop stuff, that's nothing compared to 1940s, but I don't think it exists in regular, popular music. But in the church, people are just absolutely angry about the whole dichotomy of it. And I just personally, I don't think it should be a dichotomy. I think it should be, just a beautiful acceptance of the way that we have worshiped for years and years and years. And so Alleluia, Sing to Jesus is one of those songs. It's a hymn that we have had for a long, long time, hundreds of years. And so I like to look at the lyrics of those types of hymns and go, okay, this text is amazing. Like some of his the scepter, his the throne, just some of the concepts in the lyric throughout that. It's just beautiful. And so how can we represent this in a way that people will hear it freshly and in a new way, so it's not the same thing that they've heard over and over again, so that those lyrics will pop out again in a new way, and it'll be heard differently. So that was really my approach to this, and I love to do that. I love to take hymns and kind of reimagine them a little bit and represent them, and so I added a refrain just to kind of bring folks back in case they don't know all those lyrics already. We can't assume that everybody's grown up singing that song, I don't think. So even though it will be familiar, like here's just a nice little refrain, a little chorus that everybody can jump in on and know pretty immediately. And then the rest of the song hopefully is familiar to most. And yeah, I wanted to do something with strings and horns and a full choir. It's kind of it's not my MO. It's a little out of my comfort zone, but I just loved the process and I loved how it came out. So, yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And I'm curious how you look to define success or impact, I guess, of that type of work. Because again, you're kind of taking some old, you're still making it your new, so you're still could be, getting new listeners that had never heard the hymn before, and then there's others that have. So I'm just curious how you kind of look to define that for yourself.
Yeah, I think that, in a word, I mean, success in general, I think for anyone who is trying to follow the walk of Jesus would be, I guess, measured in the idea that whatever I'm doing is bringing worship to him, and I'm going to say this because I think I think it's funny right now because we're in a YouTube world. We're in a, like everything's out there, Instagram, and it's all out there for people, everybody. Mm-hmm. And I am trying my best to do what I feel like God is calling me to do without making Jesus look like an idiot. And sometimes I just worry that we are doing that, like we're trying so hard to promote Jesus or to promote maybe even ourselves. I don't know, but I don't want to fall into that trap. Like I want to make sure that I'm working really hard to present Jesus in a way that I think he wants to be presented, and the way that Scripture says, the Scripture tells us over and over again how Jesus, he walked into places knowingly with sinners and with people maybe that weren't the best walks of life, and he he did that with confidence, and like I think the call is still there to do that, and so I don't want to get trapped in the thing of like I made lots of money on this music, or I impressed a bunch of people with this. It really, the goal for me is to bring people to worship, bring people to a place, a space of prayer, an atmosphere of prayer. And so I hope that's what's going on with the music that I'm making. Specifically, Alleluia, Sing to Jesus. I hope that it reaches back to people who really love hymns and want to hear those again. And I also hope that it reaches a new generation of people, and that they'll hear it and go, oh, this is great, and it's new and it's fresh, and maybe they'll discover in the midst of it, oh, this is a 200-year-old song. Okay, cool. So yeah.
I'm curious, since it's been released for a week or so at this point, what that listener feedback and the responses that have made it to you so far have kind of highlighted for you.
Yeah, I think that kind of has been the feedback from a few people. I think it's always love and hate when you put yourself out there. I think, like I was saying, nowadays you almost have to be crazy to put yourself out there, because it's just an Instagram world, and everybody has an opinion and they're not afraid to share it. But, so there's lovers and haters. But I think for the most part, the overwhelming sense that I'm getting is this is such a beautiful throwback toward the history of the church and the traditions and the things that we look to from Jesus himself through, for 2,000 years. God has revealed his creation to us through art and through song and through music. And I think most of the people are looking at that and going, wow, he's looking at this beautiful art that has already existed and representing that to us. And I think there's a general appreciation. Now, there are a few people, I've seen a comment here or there, like, why did we have to modernize there was nothing wrong with this hymn to begin with. Why do we have to do this? There's always that. But, I think everybody has their opinion on it, and they're welcome to it. But I think, the intention is pure, and I think it really is something that God is hopefully working in people to be able to pray with it. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I know that I mentioned it was the third single you've released of late, and I know that you're kind of leading up to the full project early next year. So I'm kind of curious how, the three that you've released so far kind of preview that whole project, or what kind of theme that kind of wraps them together, and you're sharing them ahead, if that makes where I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a strange adventure here lately. I mean, CDs were so easy because you could make music, and you could kind of build up some anticipation for it, and then you've got this collection of 10 or 12 songs, and you're like, hey, it's coming, and then you release it, and then it's all out there, and for better or worse, it's all out there. So like the next day you're like, oh no, now what do we do? It's all out there. And then you spend the next year trying to travel and let people know about it, and all the promotional things that go along with it. And now it's different than that. So we've tried to kind of figure out, like, how do you release a collection of songs right now in a way that can still be impactful in some way. And so kind of what we came up with, when I say we, the band and I, kind of were thinking through it, and felt like if we release these songs one at a time. The first one was Come to the Banquet, and we just spent some time on that song and let people kind of listen to it, and talked about it in social media, and talked about it with friends, and played it as we were out doing events and concerts and things. And then we moved to the next one, Jesus, I Trust in You, and started talking about that one a little bit, and still, you know, a little throwback once in a while to, and don't forget this one, but also, so that's been the whole process, you know, like, and now with Alleluia, Sing to Jesus, it's the same thing. We were letting folks know about that one, but still kind of reminding that the other things are coming, and that there's a whole project that at the end of all this, Outpoured will be released as a collection of songs, and these 3 will be on it, and 4 others. And so it's going to be, you know, hopefully there's still some sort of like anticipation building toward the final kind of, here it is, here's Outpoured, the whole collection. But still releasing it in a way that it's kind of fun too, honestly, Jesse. I mean, because, you know, like, whereas before it was, you know, build up the anticipation and then all the songs are out there one day, this has been, for me, like a little bit of an opportunity to talk about each song individually and what it's meant to me to either write it or record it or both. So it makes it a little bit more of an adventure. So I like it. It's kind of fun.
I'm curious, since you mentioned it's changed how you release, in how you create as well. So did you have like the full project and the thought of Outpoured when you released the first single, or has it kind of morphed and changed a little bit because you still have that time, if you will, leading up to how some of these go?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I did get a little lazy there toward like right at the very beginning of all this. I thought, okay, well, we need, because I knew I wanted to do a project that culminated in something at the end, but I also wanted to make it apparent that we were culminating to something, but also, you know, give each song its due in the process of leading up to that. So yeah, as we got a little closer to coming up with a method for doing that and saying, okay, the whole project is going to be released in early 2023, but we're going to start now, like, you know, in mid 2022, releasing these things and do it, you know, every couple of months. There was this thing as we were building up to the release of Come to the Banquet, the very first one, I still didn't have the last couple of songs finished. Like, they weren't recorded. They weren't done yet. And we were releasing the first one. And there was a part of me that was stressing out about that a little bit. Like, we got to hurry. And then I was like, no, we really don't. We really don't have to hurry at all. We have like months. So it's been kind of nice to do it that way and a little stress free. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I was curious because I know that probably has changed not only how you release, but kind of your whole thought process on the whole creation of the project as well. So I was curious about that. I know that you're obviously going to do some type of tour work with, you know, the full project once it comes out, but I'm curious between now and the end of the year if you have any big events and kind of music that you're waiting to share live with folks.
Yeah, so we were working with an organization this past week, Life Teen, that they work specifically with folks who minister to teens. So that was an exciting event, and then, you know, just to kind of share with them some of the new music, and then we've got stuff coming up in November and December. Some Christmas touring that we'll be doing later in November and early December, kind of in preparation for Christmas, that we're really excited about as well. And yeah, so those are kind of the ways that we're leading up to, yeah, just letting people know about it through events. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I was, because I assume you're not going to obviously be able to talk about the whole project until it's all out, because you're not going to be doing all of it there. So curious how you were taking, you know, those bits and pieces, not only in the release of the recorded music, but also kind of in your events as you go too.
Yeah, and I mean, there is some sort of element of like, I guess, surprise a little bit that we're trying to keep towards it. But, you know, I mean, it's exciting that there's new music that people have never heard that's going to be coming out in, I think, February. So whenever we release the whole thing, we're saving like 2 or 3 songs for the very end. So brand new that no one's ever heard, one re-release of something that we've already done, which I'm excited about, because this song kind of had some groundswell from its its first release, and then but I don't think as many people knew about it as should have. I don't know. There's more to it, so I'm excited for a new release of that song, and then also a song that's a cover that we didn't write, which we don't do a whole lot of, but it's been a popular song that we play almost everywhere we go, and so we felt like it was great. It would be great to have a recording of it, and just make a contribution to to the worship world and to people who like praying to that particular song. So we're excited to kind of let those surprises be known over the next few months.
That's awesome. I know our time is getting close, so I'll have one more question for you, but just curious, between now and the end of the year, if there's anything else you're really looking forward to, expectant for, those types of things.
Other than some Christmas events that are coming up toward the end of the year, and then our schedule is really filling up. For the new year, we're taking a trip to the Holy Land, which is going to be amazing. I'm excited to. I have not been, so I think it'll be amazing to go. And everybody that's been keeps telling me, "Oh, you'll never pray the same way again. You're going to be, So I'm just excited to experience that. We've got a big event in Lisbon, Portugal, that's coming up in 23. So excited for some of those things that we're planning really early out, because they're bigger events, and it's going to be fun. Those are going to be week-long events that are just a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
A good chance to play some of these songs.
Right.
So
yeah, no, that's great. I just wanted to thank you again, Josh, for taking the time. I really enjoyed getting to talk more about this.
Oh, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, you too. It's good to meet you. I'm grateful for the time.
Yeah, absolutely.